everyone, it's Charlie Pinson with Friends Drift In. Today we're going to talk about butternut squash. We grow butternut squash and we're going to show you how to peel one easily and chop it up and maybe saute a few here for you on Friends Drift In.
For old-fashioned recipes and your gardening needs, while sipping on Kentucky bourbon. You sit right back in your big red hat, we're taking rural back from the urban. Listen to the stories where Kentucky is proud, share the giggles with all of your friends. You're all tuned in to Friends Drift In.
Okay, we've watched everybody try to just take a butcher knife and peel these, but the way to do this is first take your knife, cut the top off, and cut the bottom and make a flat spot on the bottom as well. You don't really need to get into the seed cavity, which I just did, but that's okay. And then you take a Y peeler. A Y peeler works wonders with these. You just take it and it goes right down the side really easily. And you don't lose as much skin either. So, you know, that's one of the good things about it. They're really not that hard to peel. I hear everybody talking about how tough they are and how hard they are to do anything with, but we're going to try to make that a lot easier for you and a lot less time and trouble. And it shows you just how easy it can be done here, as we're going to take that Y peeler. Got to keep the skins out of it. But these skins, actually, you can probably eat the skins off of a butternut squash if you cook them. They're not that thick, but so many people are struggling to get these skins off that we're going to try to do it the easier way. And all about the tool that you're using. This is a tool that most people have in their arsenal, in their kitchen. And then on the bottom, you just take it, and you can go either way. Just little short motions, just cut them up. Get it all off the bottom down there. There's nothing but yellow flesh. You know, that dull right there, the one you missed, just come back and get it. I mean, you'll see how easy it is, especially if you got and this is just a cheap one that we bought at a cheap store. This is not one of the real fancy stainless. It's got stainless steel blade, but it's nothing fancy as far as a Y cutter. We use these at the farmer's market when we were selling our squash at the market as well. So we would do this and do samples right there on the spot. And there you go. You have a peeled butternut squash. Let's clean up the mess here, get it over to the side out of the way, and then we'll show you how to cube it up. We'll slide it all over here to this end of the table, get it all out of the way, have a nice cutting board. So that didn't take long, and not that big of a mess to put it out there like so many people have a problem with. And then you look down to right about here, the top of the neck, and you cut that off. Press right through it, and then you've got one big piece of the meat there, and then you take and you can cut the bottom half off. I just take the seeds. A lot of people use a fork or a spoon. I just take my fingers and pull those seeds out, and then you can take your knife and run back through those and scrape that out as well. But, you know, and those seeds come out. You can actually save the seeds depending on which kind of squash you get. If you get the Waltham butternut, which is the open pollinated or heirloom type of butternut, you can use those seeds to grow your own plants again. So you can take those seeds and spread them out, dry them out, and use them again. Make sure you get all the seeds out of the cavity. And that's pretty clean right there. Get that seed out of the way. Of course, you get that on your fingers, it's no big deal. Now, the easiest thing to do is to take this and just slice them into like 1/2-inch cubes. Use your hand on top because, you know, that way you don't expose your fingers to getting cut. But, you know, if you want to, like I say, breaking it down into cubes is not that hard to do. We will break this one down. And like you see, let the knife do all the work. You hold the tip end of the knife down when you're cutting like this, and you just push down on the back side. And if you're, you know, like this is again, keep your fingers tucked in and away from the knife. And that's cutting that part up is the seed cavity itself. That's going to be the thinnest part. We will get those chopped up really quickly here. And now you go to the main part. Now this is going to be a little tougher. It's a little harder to cut, but you let the knife do all the work. You just get it started and then just push down with the palm of your hand. And I'm going to cut it one more time to get him into the size that I'm looking for. And then you do the same thing again. Just take your knife, slide it across and cube it up. And like I say, it doesn't take long at all to break one of these down. And they've got a beautiful flavor to them. We're going to do it a little differently today. We're going to saute it in oil with a curry. And you'd be surprised, curry brings out the natural sweetness of the butternut squash. And let's see, we did all chopped up. Again, once you get everything going the right way, it's not that difficult. And I'm not pressing down that hard. I mean, they're not as, there are tougher squash out there. The winter squash, though, are nice keepers. These were from last season, and they've been kept here in a cool, dark place. Like, look, you can put them in a closet. You can put them in a root cellar if you have one. You can put them under your bed in your bedroom if you want to do that in a good box. That's not, again, the storage on them is not that hard. All right, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back. Okay, now that we've got everything chopped up, we're getting ready to put it in our skillet. We've got a little hot plate going. We're going to add some olive oil into you want your pan to be warm, already ready to go. Get that moved around, get it all over your pan, get it where you want it. And then we take the diced squash, we put it right there in the pan, and let that get warm for a little bit. Then we're going to add a little bit of curry. This is just a curry we bought off the shelf. You'll get there and you'll just kind of be liberal with it to your taste. This is kind of what we like to do with ours, a little curry. Also like to use a little bit, this is a garlic powder. We'll put a little bit of garlic powder on there as well. Get that all over, just enough. Don't, like I say, not a lot. All to your taste. Okay, some salt as always. A little salt. And I like a little fresh ground pepper on mine, so we're going to grind some pepper on it. And you can see that it's starting to sizzle a little bit down there at the bottom. So you just sit here and, of course I like to do it a little bit fancy. I will flip it around for you and get it all mixed up that way. And then just let it sit there until it starts to sizzle, gets hot. Just takes a few minutes. It's really not a hard. You want to cook them until they're soft to go to the touch. I've got this actually on high heat, so I'm cooking it pretty quickly. It's kind of, my style. As you can see now that's all incorporated after tossing it a couple of times. And we'll just have to let it cook for a few minutes and we'll be back in just a moment. All right, we're back with the butternut squash. As you can see, it's starting to get more translucent and changing color and that's changing the texture of it. What you want to do is you want to get it good and fork tender so that you want it a little bit chewy, but you don't want it quite mushy. But you get that curry in there, and boy, you could be here, you love the smell. As they say, we've not invented smell-o-vision, but just to show you how tender it is, we're going to use a plastic fork and push down into it and pull you a piece up. There you go. And so that is a curried butternut squash. We're going to plate this up for you and show you how to eat it in just a moment. All right, so there it is. That's your cute butternut squash with curry. And I'm telling you, it's really good, soft, tender, and flavorful. Tune in again on Friends Drift In.